Hey, it's Rick. Welcome to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be making a 4x4 tire stash jar that we're going to 3D print. I'm using a program here called Modo, and here I've quickly blocked in the actual tire cylinder itself, and now I'm making the treads. Each one is going to be a separate piece, and then I'm going to create an array of them all the way around. Once I finish the rough blocking stage in Modo, I bring it into ZBrush to work on some details. If you know exactly how many treads you've got, you can use the radial symmetry tool in ZBrush, and then when you just paint on one tread, it actually affects all of them all the way around. I know on this model there are 28 treads around the circumference of the tire. By using radial symmetry and masking, I can create details that appear symmetrical all the way around. Here I'm giving the tire some dimension by bulging it out around the middle. Part of the problem with this process is keeping in mind how this is going to be manufactured, which in this instance is FDM 3D printing. Now, I'm creating a lot of details here, but unfortunately, when I actually do go to print the first prototype, I realize that a lot of this stuff isn't even going to show up, or isn't going to show up in a particularly high detailed way that I would like, especially the surface details on the top. This was the first iteration of this particular model, so at a future date I actually go back and simplify all the top details so that things print better. Now I'm back in Modo, setting up the primary shapes for the rim and the details in the rim. I tend to do all my blocking in Modo, just because I find it easier to manipulate single polygons and simple polygon shapes than it is in ZBrush. From here on in, I switch back and forth between Modo and ZBrush, working on the rim parts a little bit in one program and then sending it back to the other, depending on what operations need to be done. Again, I'm using the radial symmetry tool here in ZBrush, so it appears as if I'm drawing all of it at once, but I'm really just working on one part, and it's duplicating the whole thing around in a radial pattern. If you've enjoyed this video, or at least felt like you've learned something from it, please click subscribe and like. Now here's a rotation of the original model that I made, but as I said, the top was too complicated to print, and I really wasn't happy with the pattern on the side. And here's the final one that I actually ended up going with. I simplified the tread pattern, I simplified the type on the top, and I created the side pieces so that the top and bottom come together without a seam in the middle where the tread is. I also had to create a separate gasket ring as a separate piece that has to be glued in because the supports simply weren't removable on the first prototypes. I can print this in any color I want, so here's a blue one that I'm working on. I intended these to be black, but here's me gluing in the actual gasket ring. I'm using a rubber toughened crazy glue, so it's black. It makes it a little bit more flexible than original crazy glue, which makes it much stronger. I did create a recessed area on the model itself to put the ring into, so there'd be no guesswork when I was assembling it. Here's a black version of the tire, and you can see how the lid fits on the base with that. You've got to give it a little bit of a twist. It fits pretty snug. There's a little bit of airlock going on. Now with the black version of this, I'm printing the actual tire itself in a matte black PLA, so it has a little bit of a more rubber look than shiny plastic, but I'd like the rim to be glossy. So what I've done is I 3D printed a plastic stencil that I can use to line up over the rim and then spray through with a shiny black plastic bonding spray paint. Here's what the final product looks like with the shiny coating. And that's it. Here's the final product ready for shipping. Now, if you'd like one of these yourself, head over to the link in the description to my Etsy page and see what else I've got for sale. Thanks for watching.